Kia ora, g'day. Welcome back once again here with, I think this is part 9 of my reaction to the NZSAS First Among Equals, and they're into the cycle of training.
You take it for granted when you're training together because you're just training or you're going to war together. But underneath it all, you're building up this close friendship and trust that'll last you, even better than your own family ties.
Maybe you rely on each other for your life. You're reliant on the guy next to you to look after you when things are happening. And
another good fella, this fella on the screen.
Your life's on the line. You've got to have feelings or else you won't survive. Yeah, you've got to worry about other people, not only yourself. That's the whole thing about the 4-man or the 5-man patrol.
That's a nice way of putting it. You've got to have feelings or you won't survive. That's a great way of putting it. Like, yeah, I think a lot of people, some numpties out there, let's say, think that operators within a unit like that don't have any feelings or that they're just something wrong upstairs, up in the head. But there's some of my experience and recollections and memories anyway. There's some of the most down-to-earth, good people I've ever had the privilege of serving alongside and or going through selections and cycles with. So, yeah.
In their 5th month of their advanced NZSAS training, the unit's 5 new troopers are back at Waiouru.
As soon as you get to that signpost saying Waiouru, it starts raining. Guaranteed.
Here on cycle, they learnt a variety of weapons and tactics as they forge basic SAS patrol skills.
They begin to specialize in a much more acute manner in the various disciplines that they're going to need in the places that they're going to be deployed.
Now they must advance these skills to operational level for potential deployment on missions to places like Afghanistan.
It's shining what you've got, taking the rough edges off it, and being able to employ it at the right time.
If you're out in the middle of nowhere and it's happening, you make sure your mates are right. You're watching their back.
Everything they've learned in this time at Waiouru will one day be applied in overseas deployment, gathering intelligence, tracking down enemy munitions, and calling in superior firepower.
Having the discipline, the long-term objectivity to get the information back to an airbase, back to people so you can execute the bigger job.
As winter drags on, the 5 troopers continue to upskill their abilities. As a patrol, they learn to blend into the landscape. As specialist snipers working in pairs, they must merge seamlessly into any environment. Acquire the concentration to lie in wait for hours at a time. Yet able to respond at a moment's notice. And bullseye.
And that's interesting, like just sitting here listening to the commentator speaking about it and having these sorts of memories go through my head. Particularly, like just using this example as the sniper training and or marksman course, whatever course they're doing. I never thought about it that way. Like you go from and need to be capable of going from a cold start, literally just having laid in the same position or been sat in the same position, static, still awake, looking, observing, very minimal movements, watching a target, observing a target, recording things down in a patrol diary, etc., or patrol log. And then if and when something happens, should the crap hit the fan or whatever, needing to be able to get up and bolt and move fast and aggressively and being able to do your job. Like I never really, just sitting here watching this and then listening to the commentator talking about this, I was like, oh yeah, true, that's a good point. I never thought about it. Whilst, I guess it's not something that you think about when you're in that type of work, I would imagine, unless some other guys did. As I sit here, I can't think of a time ever sitting down thinking about that. Actually, one memory that comes to mind was when we were in Iraq. We must have gone, it must have been easily about 3 days, I reckon. We didn't have any sleep. Like it was just, we needed a punch in from where we broke over the berm and got into the western desert of Iraq. And we needed a punch in hard to get and long to get into where our area of operations was. And we had timings that we needed to try to get into there by. So yes, we got a vehicle, but still a lot of distance to try to cover. And you're still looking to do that tactically, and you're still looking to clear places on route. You don't, it's not like you just get on the highway and then just drive straight into your location. It's not how it works. But that time of not sleeping, I think part of it, the first probably, I want to say 24 to maybe 48 hours, is just you're super on edge and probably can't really sleep anyway, because you're just still tuning in to your environment, settling in, I should say, and tuning in, or trying to settle in and tuning into the environment, and trying to get used to everything, the sounds and sights and smells during the day and the night time, and just trying to really absorb and take in as much as you can, from the Bedouins there, the trucks, the goat herders, to these random SUV vehicles seemingly driving cross country, to keeping an eye out on one of the main roads through your scopes, and then seeing if there's any military type vehicles hammering up and down those roadways, which could have potentially been Iraqi forces. So just a lot of stuff going on. And then that 72 hours, anyway, I want to say is at least 72 hours, no sleep. We finally got an opportunity whereby, okay, we felt like we're in a safe enough place. Let's LUP up and start getting our heads down to get some rest while maintaining sentry. And whilst I was down, everybody had their weapon on, had their weapon next to them. And I remember those of us that were asleep, because I was one of the ones that was trying to have a sleep. And then all I heard from one of the guys that was on sentry was, tanks, tanks. And we blinking, it was like the SHIT, the bed, like everybody jumped up, grabbed my weapon, grabbed my mat, just threw it, because just had a thermal mat. The sun was out, so I didn't have anything like over me or anything. Threw the mat up over the back, jumped up into the back of my vehicle, jumped into the turret, and spun the turret around the Mark 19 facing towards, like once I was getting orientated, having a look at where the sentry was saying and where he was pointing to. And he's got his weapon lined up that way, so I'm swinging my turret around, lined up there, and then I still couldn't really see. I didn't see any tanks, personally. And I don't know if any of the other lads did, but we carried out our IA, which was we got into our vehicles, those in the guns and the turrets, orientated our guns towards where the threat was, while the driver and the patrol commander or the vehicle commander got into the vehicles, cranked those things up, and boom, we were out of there. So there would have been a big dust cloud. So if there were tanks, we would have left a big signature, but hopefully it might have been a little bit harder for them to see us with the amount of dust cloud and stuff kicking up. But we were essentially breaking contact, but we weren't firing, because the guy that called out tanks, he wasn't firing. He's just indicated to where it was. We didn't want to start shooting our 50 cals and our Mark 19s at them if they're going to be blinking blasting us with a tank with tank rounds. So we thought, let's try to get out of there, break out of there, and get into some dead ground, which was essentially what we did. And then when we got to a place whereby we were, sort of consolidated, let's say, and then looking back, and then guys going up and using the other scopes and binders to have a look and see, where is this thing? I'm pretty sure, I want to say, nobody saw any tanks. So we potentially crapped the bed for no reason. But it was a good, I suppose it was good to know that all the drills and stuff were there. Like they had been, I would have been surprised if they weren't. They'd been so hardwired into us in terms of what to do in different situations. And something like that, if you are confronted, or where we thought we were going to be confronted with a tank, and we are a light-skinned vehicle with some armaments, some small armaments, just sort of underneath the footing parts for the driver and the passenger, the vehicle commander, and some for the person in the gun turret as well. It's still just a light skinned vehicle. You don't want to stick around and test your wheels or your vehicle against the tank. Now, we did have javelins, so once we got to that dead ground, the javelins were getting arced up, the clues were getting strapped in, and guys are locked into the rocket, that is, and then getting those up into the shoulder, getting ready to line up. Javelin would give us a much better chance, but when we got rudely awoken like that, excuse me, the priority was just to get ourselves, our small vehicles, out of that area as soon as we could. We actually spread quite a bit as well, because you didn't want to be like right next to each other. Again, just part of those IAs. And I think, well, for me anyway, without banging on even longer, that story comes to mind now just based on what I was listening to here, and the need to go from a cold start, essentially, like I said, to then Blinken needing to bloody rip, roar and fart and bloody get cracking with regards to what needs to happen. Yeah, anyway.
A target from up to 800 metres away.
How to pick where the enemy's going to be, how to pick where the enemy's been, how to pick where the enemy is likely to go, and how to pick the enemy before the enemy picks you.
After a long winter, the grounds begin to firm. By now, the five are working as an effective NZSAS combat patrol. But as they practice more direct action training, this time with explosives, the five are conscious what they lack and want is actual operational experience. The unit commanders understand this frustration and impatience. They once had it themselves. And one Wairau winter 50 years ago, so too did the original soldiers of the NZSAS squadron, waiting for their first overseas deployment to help the British Special Air Service fight communist insurgents in Malaya.
The only way to get at them was to go into the deep jungle. And so this is why they had the SAS who could go into the deep jungle and stay there.
The odds were stacked against the Kiwis. A lack of necessary parachute experience would be their first major hurdle.
But there was an Irish fellow there, command.
Those power rolls from those guys look good. And it's this similar sort of, same sort of role and some similar sort of training that I went through when I was doing my basic parachuting course, just watching that footage.
I said to him, what do I do if one of these ropes break that I'm swinging on? And the instructor said, well, say after me, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, and carry on.
Having trained in the snowy mountains of Wairau, the New Zealanders were badly prepared for the humid jungle conditions, but they gritted their teeth and got stuck in.
What? And that's, I get asked those questions in terms of environment and or theatre, I think might have been more the correct term, but I think soldiers in general, like those that want to be soldiers, and New Zealanders are no different, Australians are no different, British soldiers are no different. New Zealand's mostly known for being a cold country. Nothing compared to like the Arctic Circle or anything like that, but it does get cold here in NZ. And you become more used to that. I've always preferred, personally, trying to keep warm rather than trying to keep cool. I've always been like that, even with the 20-odd years that I spent living in Australia. I just would rather be trying to, like I said, keep warm rather than trying to keep cool. And so going into an environment, like I shared in other videos about, I think the lead up to going on selection, during and post, going to places like Australia and Townsville, going to Fiji, that hot, warm, tropical environment, man, it took me some getting used to. But you just adapt. Like, you're in it now, so you either suck it up and crack on with the work, or you just acknowledge and go, maybe this job isn't for me and I shouldn't be here, because if this is too hard and uncomfortable and I don't like it in a training setting, well, then you're just going to be a liability to to the boys and the people that you're serving with on live operations. So yeah, that's what I would say to that.
We would train in the snows of Waiuru in preparation for the humidity and heat of Malaya remains to be a mystery. It was a complete change for us to go through the swamps and just experience the humidity, the rain, and the things like leeches.
You could hear the dead leaves. You could actually hear them rattle as the leeches came towards you.
Step 1, choose your coffee with just one touch.
Okay.
Step 2, there is not step 2. That's it. Just enjoy. DeLonghi, it's not just perfect, it's perfetto.
Stop buying expensive blood glucose test strips and say goodbye to the daily pain of finger pricking. This portable home health monitor simply clips right onto your finger to accurately measure your...
One guy had one up his penis, and we learnt later that you get a cigarette. That's what we did. Cigarette, you just touch him with a cigarette, fall off.
Slowly, the originals grew accustomed to jungle ways. In particular, the Māori members helped greatly in winning the hearts and minds of locals, who in turn helped them train as trackers, providing vital intelligence.
It's interesting that it's mentioned here in this, like it is... What's the words I'm looking for without sounding racist? It was often even spoken about when I was in Australia, when we went to Timor, by other guys in my patrol and or indeed within Recon Platoon. And even during my time in the private security space, it just how, I don't know, I guess I want to say how comfortable Kiwis were in the environment with the East Timorese people, with Iraqi people, with the Kurdish people. And from what I've heard, not that I went to Afghanistan with the guys there in the military or in the private setting, but with the Afghan people, that there was just, I don't know, there seemed to be a way for the Māori people from NZ to build a relationship or a rapport with those from those types of countries. And I don't know if there's any truth to that. What I can say from my experience is that in Timor, I seem to be able to get on well with the locals. In Iraq, seem to get on well with the locals. Obviously, the islands and stuff like that in Fiji and those sorts of things, that seem to be well. But I've also noticed other places that I've been fortunate to go, I don't really know that I've had any dramas trying to get on with other people, regardless of their ethnicity. Whether that's something that's just inherent from a, I don't know, DNA cultural perspective, I couldn't tell you. But it's interesting that they mention it here with what they say, particularly the Māori people. And saying that, I saw plenty of non-Māori do well and build relationships and stuff as well. But I don't know. Seems to be Crime Watch, the majority are Māori or Pacific Islander. So I don't know if going to other countries and people being drawn to brown faces is because we're more trustworthy. I don't think that's the case. But maybe, yeah, I couldn't tell you. I don't know what it is. So where was I going with that? I don't know. I just found it interesting listening to this guy. So I'm just going to rewind it so I can hear what he was saying again. Let's just hear that part
jungle
again.
ways. In particular, the Māori members helped greatly in winning the hearts and minds of locals, who in turn helped them train
hearts and minds. That's what I was talking about. So yeah,
as trackers, providing vital intelligence.
In those days, I think it was just the attitude of New Zealanders working with other people that prevented that friendship and gained information.
The originals developed new jungle warfare techniques.
You could only hear the sound of your own movement when you were moving quickly. You couldn't hear the sound of movement or any noise from the opposition.
So we decided to slow down, and we decided to get off the tracks, what we call contouring.
Perhaps we didn't cover as much ground, but I believe we covered the ground much more carefully.
The originals made such a huge impact in this jungle warfare. They were instrumental in bringing down the communists.
Well, I think that's probably where a large part of just hearing these guys, let's call them the originals, let's say, for NZ anyway, hearing them speak about the stuff in Vietnam, I'm assuming, or Malaya, where they were fighting and things like that and patrolling, the lessons that they were learning, that they couldn't hear anything else or the enemy if they were moving fast. So they learned to, I think I heard them say, slow it down. Patrol procedures is a demanding course from the perspective of not only all the, the lessons and stuff that you've had leading up to it, but the discipline it takes to move slowly and deliberately with your heavy kit and equipment on, with your body and shoulders and back and legs, in a fair bit of pain and discomfort, but the need to just move and patrol and do the job like there's nothing wrong. Even though you might be in a lot of pain, like you need to put that off to the side. And I'll be honest, you're not always in pain. Like that's not an accurate comment. Like I can't say that I was always in pain on patrol procedures, because I just wasn't. Like I said, for pretty much the vast majority of it, I loved patrol procedures. It was awesome. Some moments where you get a bit cold, feet start feeling really numb, and fingers and that sort of stuff, and some of the extremities. Yeah, but that's just like, it was no big deal, if that makes sense. But listening to these guys and what they were doing, winning the hearts and minds, the patrolling tactics and techniques that they clearly identified and discovered. And then I think through that, because I have been asked, what impact have previous SAS soldiers had on, future generations and, or dare I say, these current generations? I think they've had a massive impact personally, like without being there and without knowing what they did and how they adapted and what they brought back to the unit after various operations and deployments that they're on. I don't know specifically because I wasn't there during those times. But what I can say is that the training that I received during my time on the NZ cycle and the Australian one was awesome. Like it made a lot of sense. It still makes sense now. Would it be applicable now? I'd say it probably would. But there's so much more technology these days that even if you're moving slow with the types of cameras and sensors that you can have on the types of drones and technology these days, unless you've got some sort of predator camouflage outfit, which who knows, maybe that's just a matter of time before stuff like that starts to come out. You're probably going to be spotted more and utilizing the technology to be able to give the advantage to soldiers these days. But for the time and the way that it's been running, at least I assume still to this day, it still has its place. Like people are still having to be out at the coalface, on the front line, so to speak, to do the work that has been done. But yeah, technology is starting to help go a long way towards trying to either minimize that and or stack the advantages in favor of those soldiers that will eventually go out on the ground. Yeah, how are we going here? Let's do a couple more minutes of this.
The jungle is the same for you and for your enemy. One who makes the best use of the jungle that survives.
Today, the legacy of the originals inspires the 5 new troopers. And after a winter of advanced training, they've taken their skills to the next level. But this training must be put into context.
The first time hopping off a helicopter in the middle of a foreign country, you're a long way from any help should you need it. That can be quite daunting.
The 5 will now take part in a squadron exercise mimicking operational conditions and pit them with experienced NZSAS troopers.
Those are the guys that will take you and hone your skills.
As dusk falls, the mission begins for the 5 aboard. Their objective, the destruction of 2 enemy targets. The patrol will be dropped into water at speed, a highly risky maneuver. The reason the chopper can't slow to deposit the men is to prevent enemy radar from detecting their presence. Although the snows have thawed, the water remains icy cold. But here the soldiers must stay for several hours. By nightfall, the current has carried their numbed bodies closer to the targets. Now they split into 2 teams, the 5 spread among both. Up to their necks in the freezing water, the first team struggles to attach explosives to submerged power lines. The second team heads inland to the mock dam. Like any actual mission, where there is only one chance to complete the task, so too with this exercise. In total silence, the new troopers work to complete the exercise to the standard of their mission-proven colleagues.
You keep your mouth shut and you learn off them. That's what you do, because there's so many guys with amazing skills here.
With the explosives in place, the teams move.
For anybody that might, you know, or for those that don't know, basically, and maybe even those that do, like Dale and the words that he shared, you keep your mouth shut and you learn off them. And I think he's said similar words throughout this documentary. He's 100% bang on. It's real simple. Like I've shared that before. Selection and cycle is simple. It's just not easy. So keep your mouth closed for the most part, because you're dealing with experienced operators, directing staff who've been there, done that, and learn from them. By all means, ask questions. They'll have no problems if you ask questions. But don't go in there with, I would encourage anyone, don't go in there with the mindset or attitude of, oh yeah, I've done this sort of stuff before, this is what I reckon. Like, just close the mouth, watch, listen, learn, observe, go and apply what it is that they tell you to do the way that they explain for you to do it, and just watch what happens. Get a sense and feel for why those things are happening. It may not necessarily all be clear to you when you're first hearing it, and you're hearing it and seeing it in drips and drabs, because you're getting those bits and pieces to help build the candidate up to a point whereby when it comes time to put the whole shebang together, then they can then they'll see it and feel it and understand it more fully once you're actually in it and doing it all together. So just tie-ho, just hold your horses a little bit, rein yourself in if you can, whack some duct tape across your mouth if you can't help yourself, and just listen and take it in with regards to the work. It will make sense, and if it still doesn't make sense for some reason after, then you can ask those questions, and ask those questions in a respectful manner. Give your rationale and your reasons as to why you're unsure and why it's not making sense. Give good rationale and reasons why. Don't just go, that doesn't make sense, and then don't give an explanation as to why that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense because blah, blah, blah. Like, if we do it this way, it seems like, feels like, looks like, whatever, that we will be able to achieve X, Y, Z. But we're being told to do it this way, which I think limits us. You know what I mean? Like, give a good explanation or rationale in terms of what your potential or perceived issue might be. But anyway, I'll leave this one here. Dale's comments are very, very relevant. Just shut your mouth and just learn from those that are there. There are a number of people that have just got outstanding knowledge, experience, skill set, competency, and you'll go a long way to just taking it all in and paying attention and then doing what it is that they say for you to do. So anyway, till the next video, we'll see you on the next one.